Olá, bom dia e bem-vindo ao nosso canal Quinta, Fonte, Pipa. E hoje nós vou ali à aldeia de São Vicente da Baeira e ajudar aqui uma casal novo daqui. Hello, good morning and welcome back to our channel. This morning we are going to be helping a new couple in our village, São Vicente. So they have been watching our channel for a while now. I'm sorry about the noise, Dad's currently sweeping the truck out. We are going to go and help them remove a few things from their house, and as you can hear, and you can probably see him, Dad is cleaning out the back of the truck as we're going to be helping them remove a few of their things from their garage, and Dad is also going to help them fix their boiler. As you can see here, we have some raised vegetable gardens. So last week me and Mum put some of these together. Unfortunately, I haven't been here much this week as I have been in Quinta with my boyfriend at a heart specialist, and thank you for all of your kind comments on that. But whilst I haven't been here, Mum has taken the time to fill up 2 of the beds already, so I'm going to help Mum and fill the 3rd one. So most of you probably know we haven't had a vegetable patch for roughly 4 years now. One, because of the fire burning the original vegetable patch and the tubing, but also because of our 30 lovely goats. They will eat absolutely everything and anything. So we've had to make sure the courtyard is safe, and Dad has installed a new gate because unfortunately the wall collapsed, taking the old gate with it. So Dad's had to reinstall that. But in here is safe for the moment. So we will hopefully be planting some winter vegetables. I also removed my cactuses from the old cow feeders that were here on the farm originally. So we have filled it with dirt and we've topped it off with some manure, and hopefully we'll be planting some tomatoes in there next summer. And all of the manure that is being used in our beds has come from our goat barn. And this here is a cow feeder that I've half filled up with goat poop. So this is the gate that we installed to keep the goats out. But I've just caught Dennis trying to escape. And he has grown a lot, haven't you, little man? The leaf in your whiskers. Go on then.
As the girls have already explained, I made another gate further down there for the goats to keep them out of the courtyard. We've got another staircase you might have seen that goes into our back garden, and we've had a pallet leaning up against that for a long time, and the goats keep getting in through it. And now we're going to put the vegetables there. We can't dare have the goats get in and destroy it all. So I've salvaged some planks like this from 2 pallets. You can buy a special tool to do it, but this crowbar, this works very well because it's thin and it goes in between the planks, and this bit will actually cut the nails in half. And I've also got a very giant gorilla one which I brought with me from the UK. I managed to salvage 10 planks from the pallets which I've got in my workshop. So let's go and have a look in the workshop. I've been out and measured the gap I've got over there, and you're going to see in a minute it's a bit of a strange, the opening isn't in line, it's a bit offset like that, the 2 walls where you walk through. So I'm having to sort of mount the hinges in a bit, I don't know how to say it, in a style that's going to make this work. How's about that? So, but there's the gate, that's the back of it. Let's show them outside, it's probably a bit dark in here. So here's the gate outside. Turn it around in case it was a bit dark inside the workshop. It's only simple, it's just made from pallet wood. But it's very strong, very rigid. I've mounted the hinges on it. I've already measured up there where I want to drill the holes. So I'm just going to go and get the drill and drill some holes into the side of the wall up there and some raw plugs and mount it, and hopefully it will swing nicely first go. I'm a bolt short though, I need to go and get a bolt to lock it, but we can do that later on, and I'd always fit that last anyway, so you know where you actually want to drill a hole into that granite pillar. Because we want to be able to keep the goats out of here, because these are going to come in really handy. I'm going to put wood around this bath, so turn that into another raised bed, and we've got another bath which we want to put somewhere else in here. Looking forward to having a vegetable patch again. Because when we bought the farm, this was a block wall and we rendered it, and we rendered all the side of the building and everything. So I'm hoping this is going to go into the block work and not just into the render. Oh great, it looks like the colour of that. It's Tijolo. And Tijolo with the squares in it, when you drill sideways and then you put a raw plug, they don't often grab the block very well. Raw plugs, screws. Sometimes the hole's a little bit too big. I often cut these in half. Oh, he says. Cut them in half because they're already split there. You just chop the end and then I'd put a half in with each other whole one. And that's probably because it's the Tijolo, so there's a big hole in there, so it's not. I'm hoping by the time I put these outer screws in, it should lock it up. Right. Nope. Right, so that didn't work. I'm going to screw the screw in a little bit. Yeah, they're too loose in there. They felt it when they went in.
Oh, okay, so you just put the screw in and
you just get the tip.
catch it.
You just get the tip to bite the plastic, and then you can literally, it's half a turn just grabbing it. Right, just as a YouTube disclaimer, because I'm now showing you on film, this is likely not to work and make me look stupid, but believe you and me, this is a pretty normal way of doing it, although also I would use a knife like I said earlier. There we go, that's alright. And they're just held together on the end with a little bit from the moulding, like that. Should have brought my hammer as well. That's better. There we go. Now that's a raw plug.
So you snip it a bit.
Well, it's just because they're already split down there, because when the screw goes in, that's what they do. They swell up, but because that hole is too big, it's not swelling up and up, and it's like that in the hole, instead of being like that.
Okay. Top tip there by Alex.
Well, it's not a secret. Yeah, alright Mr. Wasp, you can go away too. And because it's a gate and it's going to get used all the time, or regularly, this needs to be stronger eventually. The opening and closing the gate will pull these loose if they're not good. Well, so much for my YouTube disclaimer. I've even done it with the wrong tool. Just to lightly take the weight, holding it pretty square. Get the one in the bottom. Now that's gone up tight. Once I put the lock on it, then we'll paint this one with old engine oil, so it's black like the other gates, which will protect it. I think that's quite a good use of 1 1/4 pallets to recycle them. I think it looks alright your side, doesn't it, son?
It does, yeah, I'm happy, thank you.
Right, time to put something cold to drink.
Because the goat poo is located at the top by the goat barn, it has been easier to put everything in tubs, especially for mum. So we're just going to be taking these, lifting them and dumping them in. So I'm going to get a few more and keep filling them up until they're on this level. And it takes about 12 of these large buckets to fill up one raised bed.
absolutely no idea why the goats come here. There's nothing for them to eat. But as you can see, some of them are looking rather pregnant, especially Star there. She's actually bagging up. I think we've got about 4, maybe 5 weeks to go. So
Mum and I are on our way to Fonte. We are located in the centre of both, so it's the same distance either way. But about a year ago, you might remember, we went to an Aldi in Vegega, and that is, what, 45 minutes away from us?
yeah, it's about 45-minute drive.
And they had an Aldi, and they've built one in Fonte. So we are going to go and take a look there. But Mum has emailed Lidl because they have. Oh, you go on, you explain.
Okay, Lidl started stocking baked beans. And if you buy Heinz baked beans out here, they're over €2 for a can of baked beans. Lidl stocked them and they were 89¢.
Yeah.
Well, the past 3-4 times we've been and done our shopping, there's been no baked beans. So I emailed them and asked them.
What's happening?
Yeah, but they're literally out of stock. They will still be getting them, but they're out of stock. But we know that Aldi
Stock baked beans.
stock baked beans, so we have to do our shopping this week. So we thought we'll give Aldi a go. Like Molly said, we're right in the middle of Fonte and Branco. There's no difference in distance for us. It's just, this isn't, it's a bit of a twisty turny road, but the views are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And if I can stop, I will stop and show you some of the views.
It's not the nicest road, but it is some beautiful views.
This is the village that Alex and I came and looked at our property at. The views were stunning, but it wasn't for us. Molly and I are just going to go and plant the raised beds. We managed to get some plugs today, so we're off to do that.
Hello.
Hey chick.
Well, they gave us a few too many plugs.
Okay, well that's good.
Well, yes, but no, because I've now got 3 too many for this bath.
Well, we've got plenty of space, it's fine. They can maybe go in with the herbs.
Yeah. We bought some, we bought 3 varieties of cabbage, 2 types of lettuce, some beetroot, spinach, piri-piri. And we've got a few herbs to plant. That's all we got, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. There wasn't actually a lot, but then no. It's that time of year, isn't it? So.
But I'm excited for winter planting.
Yes, me too. We did get some parsnip seeds.
Yes, we did.
So we're going to give those a go.
So I'm making the lettuces look pretty by alternating them. So we've got, so they look nice when they grow.
Different varieties.
Yeah.
I've managed to paint the gate, as you can see, up there. I've got Alex a couple of bolts today. So he's going to fit a bolt onto that one and the other one over there. So, right, should we get on and do this?
I think I might be able to squeeze 2 more in the end. We'll see. I'll plant these and I'll see where the others will go because I've got some spinach I need to put in this one.
Okay. We already have an intruder. This is William. This is Jeff's friend. And there's Storm. Like Alex said, he's going to put some brackets on the back of this and put some fencing to keep the little rat bags out.
It's like they can smell I'm doing something for myself.
Yeah, they can smell something green. Well, I've put in my basil and my mint. And hopefully, maybe tomorrow, Alex is going to do something to make this bath look a little bit less ugly. So Molly's laid out all of her lettuces here that she's going to plant. Now you're doing spinach. Okay.
Oh no, here comes trouble.
Hey Fred. Oh, Fred and Dennis. And Eddie.
Got all of them.
And Tilly. And Lucy.
And the boys are probably going to go and use the planter as a bathroom.
No, they better not. Achoo.
Pardon?
Psst. No. Psst, 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 psst. Away, Fred. Psst. No. Good boy. Dennis. I don't think so, young man. Yes, they're piri-piris. You're not going to like those.
I'd like to say thank you to this week's sponsor for our raised vegetable gardens.
As you can see, I'm up at the top tank. Molly and Alex have gone down to the old lister to start the lister pump again. We ran it about 10 days ago and filled our top tank up. Our top tank, as you know, holds 180,000 litres. Well, we've already used over half of that in the last 10 days. Alex has only managed to irrigate the field for the goats, I think twice, maybe 3 times, and he's been very scarce with the water. The rest, the goats have been drinking. Many of you will have seen there was a really bad fire in Castelo Branco. Which is another reason we go on about fires and the importance of water. Yesterday was 44 degrees here. It really was horrendous. We've been leaving the goats in during the day because the barn is cooler, and we've been letting them out in the evenings and not bringing them in till about 10, half past 10 at night. It's just too hot and it's just too much of a risk. If there's a fire, I know I can protect the barn, whereas if they're out on the land, I've got to get them from the land back to the barn to make sure they're safe. So at the moment, I'd rather they stayed in, and we know that we can protect their actual home. Hence why Alex and Molly have now gone to start the lister. And as you can see, this was completely full 10 days ago, and we're now down to just below step number 3. So water is pretty important, it really is. It's such high risk of fires at the moment. You're not even allowed in the forests, not on foot, not in any vehicles, motorbikes, quads. I totally understand why. You know, yeah, wasn't it lovely to go for a walk in the forest? But if that forest catches fire, who's going to know you're there? Nobody. You're not going to escape the flames. I've seen some pretty horrific footage on YouTube of the fire in Castelo Branco, but more so on a Bombera's page on Instagram. Hopefully I'll see if Alex can put some of the photos up from there to show you just how bad the fire was. I know there was about 1,300 firemen fighting it, and it went on for, I think, 3 days.
Começou em Castelo Branco, atinge de tal forma o concelho de Proença Nova que a aldeia de Rabacinas ainda está cercada pelas chamas. Há muito trabalho pela frente, um incêndio que está ativo desde as 15 horas da tarde.
When you've been affected by fire, you have a totally different look on how things are out here. I wouldn't and couldn't live in an off-grid situation having no water on the farm. I get literal goosebumps every time my phone goes off when there's a fire local to us or even further afield from us. It really is the most horrifically scary time out here. If you're living in an agricultural support building, which is literally just for animals, they're not going to come and save it, because to them it is just a barn. It can burn. There's no life at risk there, only animals. And as sad as it is, animals aren't their priority. It's saving people. So please, if you are considering moving to Portugal, please do think about the worst case scenario, not just like, oh, wouldn't it be beautiful to live in the forest? And yeah, it's beautiful, but it's also dangerous.
not looking good, is it? Hello everyone. Well, I think Sandra showed you yesterday the water up at the top tank flowing, then stopping, then flowing again. I went up there and had a look, and it did it a lot less than what Sandra explained to me and showed me on the camera. So I thought it was sort of alright, but it was very strange. We all then went back inside the house because of the heat, and I just had a niggling inside of me to go up and check the pump again. So I got back on the bike, I rode up to the top, I could hear the pump running, rode up, bone dry, nothing coming out of that channel whatsoever. So straight back down to the pump house on the bike to go and turn the pump off, and the green pipe that goes down into the well, it's a special pipe, it's about that round, and it has got ridges in it to stop it deforming and going and getting crushed because it's sucking. And I went in there, and that round tube was flat like that. The pump, it's obviously blocked at the bottom somehow, the pump is sucking and it's crushed the tube. So I'm going to have to go and lift it all out of the well and try and make some sort of cage to go around the bottom, because obviously something has got around the base of the pump pickup and it's blocked it. So before the heat turns up, we're going to go down to the Lister pump and do it. But it might not look a lot on camera, but this has got really brown. I needed to water this 3 days ago, and because of the fire season I didn't want to take the last bit of water out of our big tank in case we're going to need it, because you would have seen how big the recent fire was near Jasper. It was a big old fire. So what was it, water this or protect the farm if a fire was to come? So we ran the pump yesterday to top the tank up so I could water this, with the problem I haven't watered this and it's looking really not good in here. So I better hurry up, get on and fix this. So down to the pump house it is. I've just opened the flap up, and what you often get in dark, cold, damp places, I don't know if Molly wants to film it, but there's thousands of spiders. They're not harmless, but they just get on me nerves. So.
They are harmless, they just get on your nerves. He said they're not harmless.
Sorry, yeah, they are harmless.
It is still quite early. These are the spiders somebody in the village told me I should sit with.
Oh yeah, apparently they cure your diseases, but that was the crazy guy in the village, wasn't it, that sits now in a special home, bless him.
Hundreds.
They're, you know, I'm not scared of them, they're just annoying. I came in here yesterday when I found this problem. I lifted it up and they were all over me. Right, when I came in yesterday, don't know if you can see this pipe's looking a bit squished, isn't it? The pump was red hot. When no water gets in these pumps, they get extremely hot, and I've got more work to do with the pump this morning, because of the gland seal in the back is made out of a string, and it should never be run dry because it hardens the surface and then it no longer seals, and I would have expected this thing to have probably been running for about an hour, not sucking any water. Because of the giant size of it, I made a spanner when we were putting it all back together to undo the giant size connectors. So, because what I don't want to do is, what I should have done, there should be a plate here with an arm to support this. Oh, yeah, right, one goes over there, one will go over there.
How can I help?
You can't really, darling. It'll go on there, it's a bit awkward there. Oh, fuck's sake. Right. I mean, I'm hitting this and it's shocking all my wells and everything, how I repaired this. So I'm not even going to say what I'm worried about. Might be enough. That might be enough now. And this has to be done up super tight, because if any air gets in there, the air goes in the pump, and then it creates what's called as cavitation, where the air just goes backwards and forwards, and it actually stops the pump from pushing water. Which is why I need to put a brace there, so we can then
use force.
We can use some force on it, and not be like I am now, absolutely wetting myself. I'm going to fracture those welds. That's the problem with cast iron, when you weld cast iron. Jesus. It goes really smooth and then it gets really tight. Oh, please go loose. Oh. And this rope is to stop it dropping once I've undone it. Otherwise this will go in the well. Like we're always saying on the farm, we had other jobs planned for this morning. By the time we finish this, the heat will be so hot. I mean, I'm starting to sweat already, and it's actually cool outside, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you bugger. Yes, Alex, I thought last night, yeah, we'll go and do that. It won't be difficult, we'll just undo this. Oh, mate, come on. Ha. You. I think it's knackered, this pipe. Yeah, it's shafted. So fucking awesome. Yeah, this pipe's fucked. Yeah, it's fucked. Oh, brilliant. Oh, well, that's fucked. Sorry about my language, people, but that's probably about 85 quid, that bit of pipe, if not more. Now, why is that blocked up? I think the valve is bursting here. You've heard me talking about a valve inside it. Well, there you go. When the pump sucks, it lifts it up and the water can come in. It'll lift it up, and when you turn it off, the weight of this, but look at that. So that's why we're turning up, and that's drained, because it's either that, I don't know, what's it need? A couple of little sticks like that to get pulled in when the pump is working. And they lay like that, and then there's a tiny little gap, and then the water will trickle out. So that is foobarred. There were a few more in here, but I think that's just a seal. Yeah, that's just a rubber seal, that one. Right, I'm going to have to go and get one. But that'll mean probably a trip to Alcane's or Castelo Branco because of the size of it. Oh, Jesus. And what I'm a bit annoyed about is that I haven't found something folded over the end of that. So in other words, why has it stopped sucking? So right now, I really don't know what's going on. I would have expected this to have come out with sticks and rubbish all stuck inside it, reducing the flow, that putting pressure on the pipe, and then the pipe being sucked in by the pump. This has come out with no rubbish in it whatsoever. Now I've pulled it out, the pipe is so flat here, look. This pipe I've just shown you, it's meant for suction pipe, so it can't get squashed flat.
And what's happened?
No, I have no idea.
It's been sucked flat.
So right now I'm pretty confused as to what on earth has happened, whether this pipe has just got a bit old and it already had a kink it somehow, and then this is just crushed, and that is what has stopped the water going up in the pump. Or was it a blockage in the end, which is why I bought the chicken mesh to put a protective housing around it to keep the rubbish away from it. And we got a trip to CB, and we're probably going to have to buy a new length of this, and I don't think I've got the funds to do it, because like I said, I think that bit of tubing is going to cost us 80 quid, 100 quid, easy. I mean, what is it? We said the other day I reckon it was about 6 metres, so that's 2, 4, 6.5, 7 metres.
If we could afford to, would you want to get half an extra metre?
No, because then it goes into the mud.
Okay.
It's well below the water level. The water level's here. You can see by the colour of it, it's probably there, just a bit above it. And the reason why it's not a well, it's a hole in the ground, and here there is a tunnel right under our field that goes all the way to the big river, and the river rushes in through that tunnel and fills this catchment pot, but it's like a well. It's hand carved in bedrock down there. So the river's got enough water that this actual level never actually goes down. It stays at the right level because there's more water coming into the thing than this pump can take out.
So it never really runs out of water?
No, not by the pump running. If it was a well, you can only take how much you'd need that right at the bottom of the well. I don't. I have this up here deliberately to keep it away from rubbish.
And that was my question about you adding an extra half a metre, and I didn't realise it wasn't like a normal well. Okay.
No. Well, when I went down there years ago to clean it out, when the boy I was employing refused to go in the well to help me, so I went in there and I'm up to there in mud, and then the water's up to here on me, and we're scooping out the mud with buckets. Well, that doesn't get me around today's problem, does it? Oh. Beep. I've just stuffed, mate. Came out here with good hopes this morning to get it all done before the sun rises and gets hot, because every 5 minutes that's going by I can feel myself getting wetter and wetter and wetter. Oh my lord, but at least it is cooler in here in the middle of the day than it is outside, so. But I generally don't like to run any of these water pumps during the middle of the day, and the reason why is because the ambient air at the moment is it's actually really hot. You're outside in that heat in the sun, take your top off, the wind blows, and it's actually hotter than the sun. It's like having a fire next to you. Oh Jesus, so I'm just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
The thing is, all of the jobs on the farm are like this for Dad. Like, let's get water to the tank. Oh look, something's gone wrong, he's now got to fix that, and then fix that before he can get water in the tank. I'm sorry, mate.
Don't get me wrong, I love Portugal, I like the heat, but when you're doing, and it's just constantly problem, 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 you know, the old, why am I doing this starts creeping in, doesn't it? Right, well, I don't know what to say, son. I don't know what to do, Johnny.
How about a cup of tea and read?
No, I haven't got time for cups of tea, I've got to get on. Well, we've just rung Rego Central in Castelo Branco, and my estimate of what the tube would cost was over doubled. It's 265 euros for this piece of tubing, because it is that hard. Now, I've been beating this bit here, don't know if that's showing up on the camera, so how thin that's got. It's reshaped it a little bit, but then it's distorting the other side, and I don't know if it'll show on camera, but I can push that in with my fingers. And unbit, you can't push it. And the way that this pump sucks, I am expecting that it has collapsed literally from here all the way up. I can see where it's ovalised it. And when I went in the pump house yesterday, minimum this much was literally, it was sucked flat, and I can't even re-push it flat. So that's telling you, look, even standing on it, look, that's how much suck that pump has got. It sucked that tube flat. Now I can beat this out, and I know in my heart of hearts it's just going to suck it flat again. We've been putting some of the buy us a coffee money and a little bit of our YouTube money to one side, and we'd saved up just under 300 euros, which we were going to put towards the roof on the goat house, on the milking parlour, and it looks like that's going to get spent today on a piece of tubing. But without it, we got no real water. We got lots of water, but not in that big tank, not hooked up to our systems.
And well, with the heat, the goats need the water.
So unfortunately, it's bite the bullet time. Not happy, but what can I do about it? And the other thing I wanted to say yesterday is look at the sun.
It's the smoke, isn't it?
That's not clouds. That's the smoke from the fire at Jasper's. That's how much it fills the atmosphere. So, and with that being said, fires, I have managed to fill the pump up, the tank up a little bit at the top, but it needs to be full up. I need to water that over there, and that's going to take 2 or 3 steps in the big tank to water that field. Right, I'll best go put this in the back of the truck then. I've got the flap, and I'm taking this with me to make sure that it's exactly right.
Was this
Look at that.
Was this an original pipe?
It's been here since we've owned the
Oh
farm.
right, okay. So she's had a good innings then.
Well, yeah, until this monkey got hold of it, and was obviously, alright, I haven't done anything wrong, but it's just sod's law, and it's happened on my watch again, isn't it? And it's 270 quid or whatever it is. It's just ridiculous.
Plus the flappy bit.
Well, that won't be a lot.
You hope.
No, it should be about €8, €6.
We'll see.
Yeah, right, come on then love, let's go.
So we're in Castella Branco and we are about to pull up and pay.
Yeah. Sophie's got exactly the right tube in stock. We've only done it by phone.
Yeah.
And we've done that many a time. You go there and they ain't got it.
We won't film inside because they do have a sign that says no filming unless you're Angelina Jolie inside.
Is that what it says?
Yeah. So we will film when we come back outside.
Right. Well, back home, we've got the tube and we're a lot lighter in the finance department, but hopefully this is going to work. I need to go and eat something because I'm starving. Well, we're all starving, so we're all going to go and eat something, and then I'll come back and I'll do this after I've eaten. So. There we go. Right, take that off of there. Well, it's typical. It's just under a metre, and they only sell it in full meters, so there's a bit of waste. No, that's going to need heating up. There we go. Look at that. Straight on. Didn't even need the hammer.
And we did have a fire extinguisher, people, don't worry.
Yeah. Right, well I'll do the other end. Hi ho, hi ho.
Off to the pump we go.
Maybe you'd like to explain to the people what happened yesterday afternoon.
That you went to start the little pump.
Because
Yeah, the little pump to fill the tank in the back garden for the house. And the water pump is seized.
Yeah. That little pump down there.
The thought of a village house with mains water is looking more appealing at the moment.
Not for me, it's not. People might wonder what I'm doing with a wire brush on the end of a drill. You can see that that's tapered and it goes in, and that is a push fit. Now, when I first got this pump working after doing all the repairs, I had problems with the pump sucking in air, and when it sucks in air, like I've explained before, it won't push water out. So what I did is I cleaned this brass, because this is brass, and the inside of that piece is female, which slots over this, and it should just be a tight fit, and that's good enough to be airtight and watertight. Well, I smeared a little bit of chemical metal around it, then I did it up to fill up any imperfections or if there was a dent in the side, and that's why it wouldn't come off yesterday when I was banging it down, wondering why it wouldn't drop off, is I'd forgotten I'd chemical metaled it. Now I've taken most of it off, but there's a little bit there. And it's taken it right off, and I've cleaned it, because now I've disturbed the joint. If I put it back, it probably would leak, so I need to put it back to its brass state. And what I need to do is I need to go down to the well down there, but there is a door in the wall down there, and as you can see, we've left the door open and the brambles have grown in, and I need to go in there with a torch, and I want to check. So the girls are going to go and hack me an entrance into there so I can get in there. The last thing I want to go and do with this new pipe is put it straight in the well, turn the pump off, and whatever blocked the first pipe blocks the second pipe and then ruins that. So there's no way we're doing that without me checking down in that well before we start the pump. And I think that is good. Yep.
You can see Dad sat in a real comfortable position right now, trying to clean them up.
Right. The slots in this, if anything gets in there, the pump should be able to cope with it. What I don't get yesterday is why it stopped pumping water. If I did that, it would still pump water.
It's just going to pump less.
But it stopped. So it's literally like a bag has gone and completely suffocated this end. And then when the pump is still sucking, like when you suck on a straw and you block the end, the pipe collapses. That's what happened to the other one yesterday. Which is why I want the torch, because there's no way I'm putting this down there straight on top of another plastic bag. But in 9 years there's never been anything unnatural in that, and there's no way for it to get in there. So it's very strange, but it's got to be checked before we do it, the price of this tube. I've got some chicken mesh, and this is a metal, green metal thing with some finer mesh on it. Oh, now I've got to cut all the way along the other way. Oh dear.
So we'll be back in a minute once Dad's got some of this up.
So it's the following morning, and yesterday in the extreme heat of the afternoon, I picked up the other pump, which was in the field up there for irrigating, because this one I think is seized, and I don't mean the engine side of it, because I've taken the spark plug out here and I've put some lubricant in there. I think it's the actual water shifting part has seized up. And normally it just means I've got to take it apart and clean it, because it's that ain't right. It's better. I let the water out of it yesterday because I've used the pickup pipe from here to put on that pump, and in doing so, when the water came out, I pulled it over one more time and it was a bit freer. So I'm hoping it is just junk in here. And then I run out of fuel, so I've got to now, and I filled this up to start it, and then realised it was seized. So I've now got to siphon out the fuel and put it into that pump because we've run out of petrol. Good here, isn't it?
Don't try this at home.
Well, no, it's the reason you use a clear hose. So you can, it's only got to get over the hump like that, and then it'll siphon. But when you haven't got a clear hose, you keep sucking until you get a mouthful of it. Right, well that's that siphoned out. Put all this back together.
Oh, look at that, spot on, well done, Blakey.
Well, it's telling me there must have been a little bit more fuel in there. Right.
This means I can do some washing.
We can all have a nice cold shower.
Yes.
Right, and some tools I need to take back up the top. Come on.
And now we're off to the big Lister pump.
As you can hear, the pumps are still running in the background. The little petrol pump that I've just got running is running over there. I think the last clip we've got is of me starting to build the mesh filter to go around the bottom of the pipe. And it took me about 4.5 hours to actually get water to start coming out of that the other day. All through the hottest part of the day. It wasn't a pleasant experience, but I'm glad to say we actually got water. Now, because of that, I forgot to show you the little filter that I made on the end, so I'm going to go down and show you what I made to help keep the rubbish out. I checked the well that we call it, even though it's not really a well. I checked the well, there's absolutely nothing in there. There's a very thin layer of silt on the bottom. I can almost see the bedrock at the bottom. So I have no idea why our first pipe got sucked flat. I've got no idea. And having the water is extremely important. No water, no firefighting. So forget having a bath and a shower and all the rest of it. You can't put a fire out. So that's why I got a bit consumed in this yesterday. Let's go down and have a look at the end and see if I can pull it out of the well to show you all. The Lister is up there and the tube comes down here, and there's a door in the lower part of the building to access the well, as we call it. Actually, don't look at these spiders, man. They're crazy things. They are everywhere. When I said there's thousands of them, there's thousands of them. They're everywhere. They are completely harmless, but when they're crawling all over your face and your neck and up your arms when you're trying to concentrate on doing a job, it's not the nicest. And I'm not scared of spiders, not unless they're big, ugly, hairy tarantula things, but oh.
How long's this hose? 7 metres?
Yeah. Well, there you go. So that's the mesh filter, and look, it stopped a few bits, but this stuff's fine. That'll go through the pump, that won't block it. So there's the actual head inside it. It's got a double layer of chicken, it's got the hard mesh around it, and it's heavy because this tube's full of water, because the rubber valve we put is working. It's holding all the water in the tube.
Just not really a job Alex wanted to do, and it was what, 40 degrees?
I wonder if we can...
You can try.
Well, I wonder if the camera will pick up in the light. Try and keep my shadow out of the way. You can see it's a rock carved out of rock. There's the tube. There you go, that's so I can see a bit of light there. So I've been in there. But where I'm facing you now is a tunnel that's carved under there. So it's like a priest hole. And there's actually, I've just seen 5 little fish in there.
Put her back, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, well that's me back at the house with some tools that I took down there yesterday so they don't get forgotten about and left down there permanently, and I'm about to start editing the video that you've just been watching. See you next week. Hopefully it'll be a better one.